Hello. Good evening, good afternoon. This is SageFT from SageFT.com and the live trading desk, live Monday through Friday across all of our social media. It's time for another Sunday night review and Rev-Up. And boy, do we have the review and the Rev-Up. The Rev-Up is going to be rather interesting this time because it's going to seem like we were just delayed a week. Or I was off by one bar on the weekly chart, as I usually am. But let's dive right into this. First thing I need you to do is I need you to hit the like, the follow, the share, turn your notification bells on so you know when we're live or giving you some video. We get you 6 times a week, 6 days a week. Let's get right into this. All right, as we came into the post-Valentine's session, what we saw was we were coming into the all-time high order block on the ES and the NQ. Now, notice the red arrow here. Notice the white arrow here. Those were not drawn for this video. Those were drawn for the last video. You're going to see what I mean when I scroll forward on each of these charts. Now, as we started last week, because it was a shortened holiday week, what we saw was the all-time high order block was working on getting traded into on the ES. Now, on the NQ, I want to make sure I'm looking at this correctly. So if we click on this one and go over, we are into the order block, but we're not yet through the median threshold. So now pay attention to the median threshold on the daily chart of the ES and NQ. Watch this. And this will just explain what happened throughout the week, and then we'll dive into a smaller time frame. Before we move forward on those, let's take a look at the 4-hour chart, and let's kind of see how this played out. Another thing that I want to point out is we came into a high-to-high trend line that lined up with the bottom of the order block from all-time highs on the ES. You can see it here. Okay, so now that's kind of setting the stage. And I also want to set the stage that we're in position 1 on the 4-hour and the daily chart, and it's looking like everything's going to go much higher. However, we knew that there was a high probability, not 95% or anything like that, but we knew that the odds of this thing pushing through to all-time highs was very tough. Now here's why. Look at how many times it does not go through the 50% level of the all-time high order block. Look at this. Okay, then it comes in. It says, "Hi, how you doing? Sorry, can't do any business with you. We're not ready for you yet. Retail is not keen to this price yet." So we say to ourselves, okay, so every time that they've sold it, they've came back and bought it shortly after, no more than 36 hours afterwards, right? So if you just look at it and you just use the 20-period simple moving average as the gauge, notice it never closes below it. Okay, so then sets the mood for the 8 EMA pushing upwards. So then this is where we're at as we start the week off. So now let's just move forward very slowly. Okay, there's our median threshold. Now we're using the daily chart because it's the easiest way to see this. Who cares what all the noise is throughout the 4-hour chart, 15-minute chart? We can just use the daily chart to see this. Okay, now, so here is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Let's move the NASDAQ over. Now, because we trade the ES, why would we be looking at the NQ? Watch, because it's the same pattern. Don't people call this the SMT or the SMC or the 1.3 or the 2.6G or whatever they call it? Sure, they can call it whatever they want, right? Look at how we come into, this is Tuesday. You have a huge morning star up here. It is just beaming at you. Watch. Let me scroll in so you can see it. Remember, median threshold. Remember, median threshold. Okay, now let me zoom in and let's really magnify this thing so we can see it. Remember, the median threshold is the 50% level of the all-time high order block. Let's go back to the definition of an order block that I use. The highest closing bar in a series. Notice the median threshold of the order block of all-time highs on both of these doesn't get hit. So this is where I had the arrows drawn the other day from the previous video. These Sunday night review and rev-ups are very important if you are not able to make your own plan for the market yet. You rely on the coach, the guy that's been looking at this for years, to kind of give you the lay of the land so we can kind of make a little bit more educated guesses on what we're doing here. So now watch this. Okay, here's Tuesday, Wednesday. Look, they cram it and they can't get it. They just keep finding buy-side liquidity. Watch. Okay, now this is a very ominous bar for the longs. Everybody knows that when we see this bar on a 2-minute chart, it says you better be shored up because the odds of making it above here are absolutely not in your favor. Watch this. Here's the next bar. So this is what I meant. It gets up to, if you look, this is so close to the top of this, the close of this bar, the green bar, and then they absolutely give ghost to the buyers. All right, so now now this is the high-flying text. Do they do it to the ES? Bang! Yes, they do. Okay, now that leads us to where are we at now? Well, again, any one of the huge drops in price, when there is a large disagreement, they have purchased it all back within 36 hours. Do they do it, or, ready? Is this time different? That's the question for the week. Where do I think it can go? All right, top side, let's be real. It's this high-to-high trend line. That is absolutely what we're watching. If they break this high-to-high trend line, your next thought is, can they get it through the median threshold? You've got your levels here. And then obviously the all-time high, 84.50. Now, on the bottom side, let's go back and revisit this fair value gap, right? The imperfection in the market, if we will, where liquidity got away on one side and they jammed it after a reversal, right? You can always Google what a fair value gap is. That's not the point of this. What I want to show you is every other time that they have made a large attempt. So Sunday night, does it gap down way down here like this? Remember, because remember, here was the deep seek gap on Sunday night. Now, do we have a deep seek gap? Not literally, but is there going to be a large Sunday night gap where, let's say we gap 100 points and it opens down here? Do they buy it? I'm not saying it's going to. That's okay. We might gap 30 or 40 down. Okay, we might gap 30 or 40 up. Okay, the worst thing that can happen for the traders is it just opens right here, because then that's the agreement on price, right? So then everybody's going to have to be watching this level right here. Now, let's say we open down here. Do they push it down and then pull it up? Okay, let's say we open up here. Is it a perfect buy-side liquidity trap for them to drop it? But what we're watching is, what do they do about within 36 hours after this drop, right? So if it closed at 4, we are looking at about 4 a.m. on Tuesday, 7 a.m. on Tuesday. However we want to look at this, right? What have they done in that period of time? Do they close the next bar green? Look at how every time they've sold it, they've closed the next bar green. When does the buy-side liquidity give in and push? When does the sell-side liquidity give in and push? Now I'm going to give you my opinion as to what I think is happening. What they're finding is that inflation is actually caused by the overspending in government. And so now this is what it could look like if they trim the fat of all the government excess spending. Is it going to trim the fat out of the market, or do we go back into all-time highs? That's the great question, right? So we've got it lined out. You just watch your moving average on your daily chart, and then you watch your pockets of liquidity, sell-side liquidity, because the only way that this thing is going to turn back up is they found the value proposition to purchase. That's going to do it for me. Every Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. on all of our socials, folks. We are across all the socials now. Live, the live trading desk with SageFT on YouTube. Come join us. We've got a free Discord. There's absolutely nothing. We ask nothing of you. Come join our Discord. Discord.gg/SageFT. Don't forget to smash the like button. Turn your notification bells on if you're following us. If you're not following us, hey, here's a great time to join us. Follow us. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Thank you.